Is the GLI worth it? This is a 2025 Volkswagen Jetta GLI, Autobahn front-wheel drive in deep black pearl over Titan black. I'm going to compare this against the competition. I'm going to throw in some pros and cons and a problem later on in the review that I have with the GLI. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides. Starting in the front, you can already see that it was reworked because the grille, it's more wider than the prior for both the Jetta and the GLI. The interior has changed. We now have the honeycomb design instead of the bars, instead of the chrome bars. The top portion integrates into the LED headlights, daytime runnings, and the pinstripe red for the lower. All of the Volkswagens will be based on the MQB platform. Only one trim to choose from, but you can option a 7-speed automatic transmission, but we have the 6-speed manual transmission, so it's going to be a little bit more engaged, but no all-wheel drive configuration. Unfortunately, the Golf are the sweet spot for that. House underneath the hood is going to get the 2.0 liter 4-cylinder, so no 1.5 liter that's going to be standard on all the Jettas. The GA888 produces 228 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque paired to this manual transmission. Now that's 13 horsepower less than the Golf R. We are getting the upgraded disc from the Golf R. That's 13.4 inches. Red brake calipers and 18-inch wheels. The standard Jetta will have a 16-inch wheel and it goes up to a 17-inch wheel. But for me, the con that comes into play is the Golf R that has more power, all-wheel drive variant. There's just a lot more going underneath the hood and for the suspension than the GLI. But this is a sweet spot if you're looking for sedans. But then on the con, the Hyundai Elantra N. It's going to blow this out of the water, and it's about the same price. Going for the most horsepower and torque, that's going to be the Toyota GR Corolla, but then that's a turbo 3-cylinder, which I just don't trust those engines that well. One owner had over $40,000 of damage, and Toyota said, you know what? We're not going to warranty it because you were hitting a higher RPM. And actually what happened is instead of going to the next gear from like 5 to 6, he went from 5 to 2 and it did catastrophic damage to the vehicle, which because it's a manual, they should have something that would deter that from happening. But let me know your thoughts on that. Going back to the GLI, you get the moonroof with the strut front suspension and coil springs, multi-link rear suspension with coil springs. It's a sport tune suspension. Multi-mode DCC adaptive chassis control and a VAQ limited front slip differential, which will send torque to either wheel that's slipping, so that way it has better traction. But going against Honda and Mazda, this is going to be the more performance variant. LED taillights, GLI badging that's going to be encased inside. The lower dual exhaust outlets with the honeycomb in the bottom. And last year you were able to get the 40th anniversary. Quick release going into 14.1 cubic feet of storage. Underneath the floor, gets a spare tire, split fold the rear bench, pull these tabs. And that's going to fold at a 40-60 split to maximize the cargo capacity to the Jetta GLI. We need to go inside, start it up so you can hear that exhaust note. The key fob to the Jetta GLI. 8-way power seat adjustment for the driver, heated ventilated front seats, memory seats for the driver, leather wrap interior, contrast stitch with the Titan black on the exterior, 3 pedals because this is a manual vehicle, driver focus setup. Let's fire it up. With that driver focus setup, we have an 8-inch informational display. 6.5 is a standard display screen size. We have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, AM, FM, streaming, Bluetooth audio. I like this performance monitoring page here because when you rivet up, you can see it is live. That is pretty cool. You can also change the gauge layout. So we have the Classic, we have the View 1 and View 2. That's an 8-inch glass covered reader. You can also change the viewpoints on that. And the driving modes, which is what this vehicle is about. So we have it in sport. You can also go into custom and you can adjust this to make it as sport derived as you like. Push this down, push into the clutch, put it into reverse. You get a reverse camera. The trajectory does not expand, and you can also click out of it so you don't even see it. So it just depends on whatever you like. Dual climate control settings is standard, and it is a touchpad that you'll just slide across. USB-C ports is only going to be available. No USB, and they're 45 watts. With a wireless charging pad, 12-volt charger, leather around the shifter, an area for the key fob. This is going to be a little bit more sporty. It opens up into a deep storage pocket with the third USB port with Beats audio, 12 channel, 400 watts. It's a total of 9 speakers, including a subwoofer that's going to be found throughout the interior. Since there's only one trim, it just makes it a little bit more desirable. Auto dimming rear view mirror, a moonroof that goes all the way back for me. Headroom, more than enough. Same thing with leg room, but the driver focus setup is a little bit unwelcoming. I can rest my leg against the wall and you sit up a little bit higher on the passenger side. I don't like how the infotainment screen is directly on that side for the 10.25. It would be nice if this was a little bit more centered. This is not a big deal here, nor is the charging ports, because it is accessible for the passenger. But because we have the ventilated and heated front seats, I'm going to let a few things slide. Door panel and dashboard configured together nicely. You get the contrast stitch here, but you're noticing nothing here. They actually put the hard materials in the leatherette right here, which kind of wish that this would go upwards into the dash. Let me know your thoughts on that. Long storage pocket, it's wide and deep. With a multi-function steering wheel, it's leather wrapped, heated, perforated on the side, GLI badging. For the back seats, this is the opening that you have to fit 2 more with the cup holders and armrests down, or 3 for a max seat. The door panel, though, is stripped of all of the soft materials. This is all hard plastics, which is a con to me. Even though this is in the low 30 grand, it would be nice to put some leatherette somewhere, especially here for your armrests. About the same size storage pocket. I do like the two-tone that comes into play into the back. Leg space is not going to be an issue. Only storage behind the passenger seat. No USB-C ports here, air vents, nothing of that nature. Headroom, it's actually doable. But is it for the center? Not as much. And the same thing with knee space, leg space, feet space, butt and shoulder space. So it's not really a family car, but it's really a little sports car. 228 horsepower with 258 pound-feet of torque. If you're thinking about Audi, you're gonna have 21 horsepower more and over 20 pound-feet of torque more opposed to an A3. Now the S3 is night and day difference, but pricing, you can see what you get as a good deal because you're getting a lot more power here. The con though, like we have been stressing on the exterior, I love that we still have manual transmission, but I also have a TikTok video to show you what that manual transmission actually does in this vehicle. So check it out if you get a chance. Also check out the new membership where you can get bloopers and rough cuts. Those videos are only exclusive to the members. It's a red light, so we're not gonna go crazy right now, but we're gonna just drive it normal. Never mind, it's green light. Gets up to speed fine. Visibility is good. Maneuverability is even better because it's not that long or wide of a vehicle. You can hear the exhaust filter in. It doesn't sound like a Drote, so I appreciate that. It's gonna take me to some pros and cons right off the bat. The pros is you only have to option 1 trim. Everything comes the way it is, and that makes it a lot easier for buyer perspective. The con is we're not getting any increase in horsepower and torque. We didn't get anything this year. It's just a full carryover, and even in the interior, it's a driver-focused setup, which is fine. However, when you have a passenger in the vehicle like you saw in the interior, it doesn't really make it that nice. Braking on the vehicle is not going to be an issue. It's a light vehicle, so whether you mash on the brake or the gas pedal, which you're about to see, it doesn't feel heavy. Let's rock and roll. is quick, does exactly what it needs to do. I mean, we killed this K5 GT line that you just see pulled up. It's a GT line, that's why. The biggest problem that I have is the fact that they already knew going into this year that Hyundai has the Elantra in. That has a lot more power than this, and it's basically right at the same as MSRP. But yet, they didn't do anything to outperform it. And that's not usually normal when it comes to vehicles that are in this category. They typically want to have a lot more performance. The drive to it is comfortable. 18-inch wheels, you're not going to feel too much of the imperfections. Front-wheel drive configuration, it can get a little tire happy. Turn radius at more or less a stop point. It's going to be tight, about 1.5 lanes. We got to give it a go. Ultimately, it unlocks the fun when you have a manual transmission. You're going to be engaged. You don't have to worry about flappy pedals or a little rocker. These are all key points to why you want to go GLI. Yeah, I wish that it had more soft materials. I wish that it had a little bit more features. I wish a lot of things, but when I'm at a $30,000 price point to get a fun to drive vehicle, great MPGs, and it's just hard to get that blend of an everyday vehicle slash sports car slash sleeper with every feature standard. I get it, the Hyundai Elantra in is gonna have more performance and it's around the same price point. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check out the next video, merchandise, website, and Instagram. Leave a comment and a like, and I'd like to thank Volkswagen of Newport Richey.